California. Thank you so much for joining me. This morning. Southern California, the scene of a deadly rampage, and the search for a motive after police say the suspects were not on law enforcement radar. Officers deploying a robot to search a home connected to the shooting in nearby San Bernardino. Hours earlier, they found 3 unexploded bombs at the scene of the massacre. But why? Why did Syed Rizwan Farouk and his partner Tashfeen Malik carry out this nation's worst mass murder since Sandy Hook? He was a U.S. citizen. She was his wife. Police say they both opened fire at a holiday party for his fellow county employees. 14 people dead, 17 wounded. Was it workplace violence or was it terrorism? Before those questions can be answered, both shooters die in a gunfight with police. Listen to the explosion of gunfire captured by a neighbor.
Oh, gosh. Shots right now. Oh my gosh. Guys, you just shot at my house right now? This cop's a little yard. Holy guys, I just got shot over yard. No way.
Chilling ride. Let's head to the suspect's neighborhood in Redlands, California. CNN's Victor Blackwell is there. He has more on this intense shootout with police yesterday. Good morning, Victor.
Carol, good morning to you. This neighborhood, still minutes from sunrise on the following day, still shut down. Investigators are back here now looking for clues inside the home of these shooters. We know they spent hours into the evening searching for explosives. Potentially, they found none. Now the FBI is back inside, but this time they're looking for answers. Breaking overnight, 2 shooters in San Bernardino's mass shooting identified. Police say the shooters, 28-year-old Syed Rizwan Farouk and 27-year-old Tashfeen Malik, were shot dead in this black SUV at the end of a massive manhunt. Overnight, a SWAT team sweeping this Redlands home for explosives.
So until we know the motive or we really have something clear evidentiary based on that motive, I just don't want to weigh in on that right now. We have not ruled out terrorism.
The massacre began around 11 a.m. at the Inland Regional Center. Authorities say the county's health department was having a holiday party at the time. Police say Farouk was an inspector for the department. He abruptly left the holiday party after a dispute and came back, they think, alongside Malik, opening fire.
I heard rapid shooting, just boom, 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 boom.
Armed with AR-15 style rifles and 2 semi-automatic handguns, investigators say the shooters came equipped, dressed in tactical gear. Family members receiving gut-wrenching messages from loved ones that an active shooting was taking place.
Shooting at my work, people shot. In the office waiting for cops.
This was the frightening scene inside.
Are you ready? If you're not cool, I'm not watching them, dude.
Dozens of employees being led to safety by police officers.
I relax, everyone. I relax. I'll take a bullet before you do, Mr. Church.
The shooters killing 14, wounding 17 more. The pair fleeing in a black SUV, prompting police, FBI, and SWAT teams to launch a massive manhunt. Hours later, a tip leading authorities to the Redlands home where they spotted a suspicious SUV, resulting in a wild police chase. About 2 miles from Inland Regional Center, police engaged in a bloody shootout with this black SUV. Both shooters now dead.
What's your exact location?
We're at San Bernardino and Shannon. San Bernardino and Shannon. The one guy down, there's one guy in the back of a car that we that haircut.
Law enforcement sources tell CNN Farouk is a U.S. citizen, and a relative says he and Malik had a 6-month-old baby girl.
I spoke to about like a week ago.
His brother-in-law at a loss for words.
I'm very sad that, people lost their life and there's victims out there. I wish a speedy recovery to them, and again, I'm in shock. Why would he do something like this? I have absolutely no idea. I'm in shock myself.
As you hear, shot from the family of Syed Farouk, FBI agents in and around this home this morning looking for answers to the question, of course, why. Maybe there are writings, electronics, a laptop, and of course, any clues if there are any other persons or maybe a larger network involved in the planning of this attack that ended with the deaths of 14 innocent people. Carol?
Such a confusing case. Victor Blackwell, we'll get back to you. Thanks so much. Of course, police are still searching for clues this morning, but investigators think yesterday's rampage was well planned. The shooters used multiple weapons, including assault rifles, wore tactical gear, and had explosive devices, both real and possible decoys. And now that question for so many people, was it terrorism? Was it workplace violence? What was it? To discuss this, I'm joined by our chief national security correspondent, Jim Sciutto, and CNN law enforcement analyst and former Navy SEAL, Jonathan Gilliam. Jim, I want to start with you. The shooter in this case, Saeed Farouk, he worked at those county offices for 5 years. He made good money, $70,000 a year. He was recently married to his wife. They had a newborn baby. He wasn't on any terror watch list or on the FBI's radar. What do authorities make of this?
They're trying to make something of it right now. They're not ruling anything out. They have not ruled out terrorism, but they also have not ruled out that it was workplace violence or, frankly, some combination of the two. Let's talk about what we know about the suspects so far. So, Farouk, 28 years old, he worked at the Inland Regional Center where the shooting took place. In fact, he was at the holiday party, apparently earlier in the day, and left possibly after some altercation. His job, a health specialist, described by his father as religious, though on social media profiles he described himself as moderate, a mix of Western and Eastern values, Western and Muslim values. Let's talk about the woman we now know to be his wife. She was Tashbeen Malik, 27 years old. This one of the many unusual details of the case, because very rarely do you have multiple shooters in active shooter situations. Extremely rare do you have women, and the idea of having a man and a woman together, husband and wife, really just unheard of. And this detail as well. They had a 6-month child who they left with a grandparent that morning. They said they had a doctor's appointment, and then they went on to do what they did. That one of the many details that has led investigators to speak about planning, that there was something planned in advance. Let's get now to the weapons that they were carrying. 2 long rifles, assault rifles, and 2 handguns. Those 2 long rifles, AR-15 type rifles. Many Americans might be familiar with them. A lot of cops use them. A lot of soldiers use them. 223 caliber. They're powerful. They're semi-automatic. The handguns, semi-automatic as well. Allows you to shoot a lot of people in a short amount of time, sadly. And then this final detail, 3 pipe bomb type explosive devices, possibly attached to a toy, a remote controlled car that could have allowed them to